Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Canadian Multifamily Investing Insider blog post. And I'm super stoked to be with graduate students of mine, Khush and Tom Harper. You can see the background. They're in somewhere warm. I've got white stuff out here in Calgary, but they've got waves and the ocean. So first of all, Khush and Tom Harper, welcome to the vlog post. How are you guys? First of all, tell us where you are. And thank you for being part of my vlog post today.
Hi, Pierre Paul. Thank you for having us on this call. So right now we are in Ecuador. San Clemente is a small fisherman town here. So this is where we bought our condo, and we will be using this condo to rent as short-term rental as well.
Okay, and I was just telling you before we started recording, I want to be first. My wife and I are going to come down and rent your place. We love the tropics. Okay, cool. Are you building, is this a new build, this condo of yours in Ecuador?
Yes, it is. It's a new build. It was just completed a couple months ago, and we're getting everything else set up in the interior to be ready to rent and ready for us to spend each winter here.
Fantastic. I love it. The lifestyle. You live the lifestyle. Wow. Awesome. Well, you told me that you will share your contact information if others are interested in renting your condo in Ecuador. But let's start with a little bit about your real estate background, because both of you had, before you took my workshop, and you took my workshop live virtual like it is now since COVID, back in, actually back when COVID began, right? Was that in March or was that in the fall of 2020? Do you recall?
It was November 2020.
Okay, it was my second one live. Now I've got all this fancy equipment now. The technology has improved significantly, but yeah, the first one was quite March 2020. But okay, so give us very briefly your respective backgrounds in real estate. Before you, obviously now you're multifamily owners, and we're sharing a success stories for those watching this interview. Though I'm always like I told you that before we started recording. I'm like a proud daddy whose children are doing really well. It's always very exciting for me. So, but tell us a bit your real estate background before you took my workshop back in November 2020, please. Maybe with you, we'll start with you, Khush.
Yeah, so the first condo that I bought was in 2013, and it was in India. It was a pre-construction condo. So I paid the money for it in parts, and then the builder, they sold each unit to multiple owners, and then they took the money and declared bankruptcy and ran away. So
wow.
yeah, so we talked to lawyers, and then like there was no way to go forward and to get something from the builder. There was only one way, was to start constructing ourselves, but then there was another problem where each unit was sold to multiple people. So that was very that was the first one.
Wow, well, we all have some stories, right? Real estate comes with some hardships at time. I'm no different. And Khush, I think you said you're an engineer by trade, if I recall, an IT engineer, right? I think you said.
Yes, I'm a software engineer by education, and I had IT experience of more than almost 13 years now.
Okay, and how long have you been in Canada? And did you have after that condo in India? Did you move to Canada to do real estate? Is that what's happened?
No, I moved on skill basis for an IT job here. So I got a job here, and we were in the same organization, and then we met, but we both wanted to do something more. We both had interest aligned in real estate, and we were thinking to buy real estate as together, like for investment, being the first one to be my primary residence for me, because he already has his primary residence. At that time, we were not married. That's how we were thinking, that we would buy 1 or 2 properties, rent it, and make money. By that time, we were not educated in real estate.
Okay. And what about you, Tom? What's your background? I think you're also in IT, so you guys met in the same under the same employer, yeah, same job place, yeah. What's your story?
Yeah. So I have, I guess, over 17 years of experience in IT and tech industry. Used to work for BlackBerry before things went downhill. We met at the same organization. We were on a different floor of the same building for a year, and then without meeting each other. Then we finally met, and the rest is history. It went pretty quickly from there. And we discussed what we wanted to do with our life when things were getting serious. and we didn't want to just keep being employees until retirement age, or even until 55 or anything. So we had a plan to acquire real estate, but we had zero education. And anyone we knew who had more than one property also had zero, or except for one person, also had zero education. So we looked into buying a condo, or as it turned out, our neighbor's townhouse, which went for sale. But we later found out that the numbers wouldn't even work, and it would be negative, significant negative cash flow. So we, realized maybe we need to take some education on this, just as we took education on our careers. We need to invest in education on real estate investing.
Okay, very cool. And what happened? Did you end up buying your neighbor's townhouse? Did you?
No.
Why not?
It was not going to make money, so we would have.
Oh, that's what you said. The numbers didn't work. Sorry, you did say that. Okay, so what was the next step after that? Sorry. Yeah.
So we took real estate training, and we started partnering with the more experienced person who had experience with multifamily investments. And then we leveraged all our mortgageability both together, maximum as much we can. And that during that time, we were also learning different strategies and trying to figure out that which is the best way for us to move forward. And us being in the IT industry, which is like quite busy and hectic lifestyle. So we decided to stick on just one strategy and just repeat the same steps, because it will take less time for us and we will have time to have our jobs at the same time. So we kept our focus only on multifamily, and we started.
When you say multifamily, Khush, sorry to interrupt. When you say multifamily, I think you mean small rental properties, right? 1 to 4 units.
Yeah,
okay, because my stuff is 5 or more, so we're not there yet. So okay, I just want to specify. So you were dabbing in smaller rental properties, 1 to 4 units. What were they? Single homes, duplexes, quadruplexes? What were they?
Yeah, so duplexes to up to 6plex. We were able to get residential mortgage on that through one bank. So they gave us an exception for the 6plex also, because the price was very low. So we were just going in residential. So at that point, we had no knowledge of commercial, or there was no need for us to get commercial too, because we were still in the smaller buildings. And that is where we were working. And then we got offer 21 unit package of multiple buildings, which had a 9plex. That's when we were like, so now what to do with 9plex? Because residential banks told us that they can't finance this building.
Let me stop you there. So what happened? I just want to backtrack a little bit. At some point, you were investing in smaller rental properties, duplexes and quadruplex. You reached out, your TDSR, you maxed out your total debt service ratio, right? And the bank said you got all the maximum financing that you can get, which is a typical thing to happen. And that's usually when people say, okay, well, we need to go bigger because your TDSR, your personal income, is not taken into account. That's what's happened, right? And at that time, before you got to bid on that 9plex, and I think it was a total, you said earlier before, it was a 9-suiter, but how many doors did you have, like smaller rental properties by that time when you came across that 9plex?
I think we were in the 20-something doors total from duplex to 6plex.
Yeah. So we were 21 doors where we were on title, and the bank said that after 21 doors, 22 doors, that's the maximum you can. Yeah, and we had, I think, another one small property with another, and 2 properties, one in contract and one closed with one of our friends.
So we had already started to partner with investors where the investor was on title for smaller properties. But, there's much more overhead with that. So 1, the 9plex available, but 2, it was also our intent to move towards larger multi-units, as it's just more efficient than having a million duplexes.
Absolutely, and that's why I want to highlight that process. That's usually how it happens. Like people like you eventually realize, okay, that's a lot of work. Not the best economies of scale, so we need to move up. Okay, fantastic. And you came across this potential 9plex, and you realize, okay, we need once again to educate ourselves. That's a different game, and it is a different game. The only thing that's not different between small rental properties 1 to 4 units and the bigger stuff 5 or more is the market analysis, looking at the market fundamentals. Market fundamentals always the same, but the financing is something different. And the person, we don't need to name them, but that you were taking training, real estate training with, said, hey, you should take Pierre-Paul's course. I should thank that person one of these days. But and you said, so you came to my course in November 2020. You had that 9-plex available to you, though. It wasn't under contract, or it was under contract. The vendor, sounds like the vendor was waiting for you to sign the contract, get your education, sign the contract. Is that more or less what happened, or?
I think by that time, so we were working on that from August and negotiating for a long time on this 21 unit package. That was 5 properties, including this 9 unit.
Okay, there were more. That's right. You said.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it was actually under contract by the time we signed up.
It was, training. And the condition of the seller was that he wants to sell all together, and the sale date should be together too.
Yeah,
so that was
closing date. So we couldn't close 1 or 2 properties. We had to close all 5 properties, simultaneously.
Okay, and then you took my course, and what happened after that? So November 2020, just still a few months after COVID began, and what happened after that? What happened with the course? How much did the course help you, and what happened there?
Yeah. So when we took your course, it was very, very intense. There was a lot of information, like
I cannot deny that. I cannot deny it. It's real work. Yeah. It's intense. Yeah. That's a good way of putting it, Khush, for sure.
and the best part that we were very happy about that is the insider information, that how banks look at it, how CMHC look at it. Because you clearly define the difference, that normal commercial banks look at it in this way, and then CMHC looks in this way with those definitions. And then you also taught us about the terms, that if you go and talk to the bank directly, you have to use these words, and these are the things you have to talk. So we decided one important thing, that we are going to talk to the bank directly. That's after taking your training. And we started talking to multiple banks. And from 2 of the banks that I was having conversation, both of them, they were like, oh, you can very well prepare, all these, because I was telling them all the terms I was using, and the numbers, the way that you showed us, and I was having the conversations in that format, and they were very impressed. And we have a very, very good relationship now with one of a big A lender. Because when we have the conversation with them, they understand us, and we understand them. It's like we are speaking the same language, and that builds the confidence and trust. And they have so much confidence on us now that we know our numbers. So I'm
going to stop you because this is dear to my heart, because that is very, very specifically what I try to do with this workshop. Something that I didn't do back in November. Now I wear different hats when I speak. When I speak as an investor, I put the hat on so that visually you can see, or if I'm speaking as a former underwriter, I have this hat, or since I used to be a lawyer, don't hold it against me, you can tell all the bad lawyer jokes, but I wear a legal hat. And it's what I try to do. But what you just said, I teach you the lingo, the concepts one at a time. Exactly. My marketing says to make you look like a pro from the get-go is the tagline, one of the taglines I used. And you felt that's what I want to hear. I mean, I couldn't have said it better than you said, because that is the goal. When you behave like that professionally, people expect a high level of professionalism on your part. Then the doors start opening up, and you build these amazing relationships with your banker and mortgage broker or an inspector and so on. Fantastic. Okay. And then, so you still to this day have built that great relationship with the lender, and they have trust in you because you've done your homework. And what happened after that? Did you end up closing on these 21 units, the 9-plex and the other buildings, the other houses?
Yes. So we closed on the 9-plex. We closed on the 9. We had to close on with cash, and then improve the performance in few months, and then go to the bank to refinance it, because the performance was very low on that building. So that's the step we took. But during this process, just few months after taking your training, we also got another 28 unit in contract, and that one we were able to close in 45 days, easy, without without any.
Okay, so just you took my course. You finally closed on that 21 unit, like the 9-plex plus the other properties. And then within how long, then you bought a 28-unit building? How long after my course? Like sometime in 2021, I suppose.
Yeah, May 2021, we got that under contract.
Wow, like not even 6 months after the
Right.
workshop. That's pretty cool. And again, you felt more confidence after taking my workshop and going through the process for a second time. You felt even more at ease doing it, going through that process?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Even a third time, because we got another 9-plex, which we closed in May 2021. And then this 20 units.
Wow.
So then when we got to the 28 unit, we expanded our portfolio to over 100 doors in total, ending with the 28 unit by the end of 2021. Mm-hmm. And in that time, we worked directly with the bank because we built with the A lender because we built a strong relationship. So we graduated from one level of their commercial lending to the next tier of their commercial lending because of our portfolio size.
I want to unpack some of this because this is where the crux of the matter. There's a few things I want to unpack. First of all, your mindset. The other thing that I want people to appreciate that you're saying, you understand that, but not necessarily everybody watching this blog post. You went straight to a lender. You didn't go through a mortgage broker. Obviously, you used my financing application template that people are getting as a bonus so that you know exactly how to put the financing application together. And that's what I do too. Okay, so this is important. You guys are watching this. You get a bonus. This is my financing application template that they used to get to that point. So they avoid paying a mortgage broker, which is 1% of the deal that they would charge you. But if you want, this is an option. And my job, as you may know, my mission is to democratize the access to multifamily investing in Canada. And it's to empower people, inspire and empower people and instruct people by giving you knowledge to do this. So I'm not putting words in your mouth. That's what you're telling me that you've been doing with the course that I taught you. Let's talk before we go any further, because this is an amazing story. Like I said, I'm very proud of you, and it gives value to the mission that I have, right? This course was really hard for me to create. It's taken me years, cost me a lot of money because I had to get a digital, one of you guys, a digital consultant, and to figure it out all out. But from a mindset point of view, you know, some people are looking at you guys, a beautiful couple, like you're beautiful together. I just mean to say this, you deserve everything because you've rolled up your sleeves. But from a mindset point of view, what can you tell people watching this that says, oh yeah, but you know, though the Khush and Tom are different, Pierre-Paul is different. I'm different because, of course, I'm privileged. I was an insider, to learn. I was able to analyze everybody else's deal before I did my own deal. So I'm a bit in a different bucket, but you guys were not former CMHC multifamily underwriter. So from a mindset point of view, because there's a lot of people, I'm going to be issuing this blog post right tonight because people are sitting on the fence. Should I spend $2,400, $2,500 on Pierre-Paul's course? What can you share with these people watching from a mindset point of view to say, I can do this, Khush can do it, Tom can do it, all these people that took my course can do it? What could you tell them to encourage them from a mindset point of view? Can you think of any encouragement, anything you wish to tell them?
Yes. So from mindset point of view, it's always starts with fear for everybody. We also went through those fear, like, oh, will it happen? We'll be able to close it. Will somebody will be willing to work with us? So those fear are always there. But because we are trained, so we know what we are talking about, that builds a confidence as well at the same time. So having that confidence that we have learned, okay, we know what we are talking about, and still the fear is there. So having those things together, it will always be together. So we just have to keep our belief into what we are trying to achieve at the end, and then just keep moving forward in spite of the fear. And another.
Can I stop you? I'm thinking of a quote by Mark Twain. Courage is resistance to fear, not absence of fear. The fear is always there, and including a guy like me, because you know, you like me, by the way, you use other people's money, I believe. We haven't addressed that, but you're like me. You don't use your own money. You have investors with you, correct?
Yes.
Okay. But I do want to interrupt, but that was a quote for once that I can remember the author, the quote. So again, courage is not absence of fear. It's resistance to fear. Fear is always there. Thank you, Khush. So go on, please.
Yeah. So what we learned from our experience is that in spite of that, we can move forward because we can leverage other people's experience who have already done that. So when we took your training, or even we took other training, or we have worked with other people, so in all those processes, when we have seen that you have achieved this, you have done this, then why can't I? So if somebody else can do that, so can I. So that belief kept us moving forward.
Oh my gosh, I'm emotional. This is fantastic. Fantastic. This is what it is. At the end of the day, I have a quote from Henry Ford. Okay, twice I remember those quotes. Either whether you think you can or you can't, either way you're right, said Henry Ford. It's all up here, but you know, anybody, it's a muscle that you got to exercise, get past that fear. Fantastic. Okay, so that's good. So, wow. So from those 21 units that you had going when you took my workshop, you closed on those. Then May of 2021, so a few months, 5-6 months after my workshop, you closed on a 28-suiter. And then what did you say, Tom? Shortly in 2021, there was another one after that, another 9-suiter?
We closed on a 9-suiter in May 2021, and then the 28-suiter was in November 2021. But in between, we added numerous other properties, so we added over 100 units.
Unbelievable, unbelievable! Wow, fantastic. Okay, so now altogether, the number of doors that you have under your belt now is how many doors?
So we have over 100 doors now, but then,
okay.
you know,
you don't know the exact number. That's so cool.
We also
look at you pros, you know, don't even know how many doors you own. Look at you. I love it. Love it.
We also wholesaled some of the units.
Yeah, we also wholesaled a handful of smaller properties because we determined the overhead. So we wholesale duplexes and triplexes because we made a business decision that continuing to acquire them with partners, you know, was just you know, the overhead wasn't worth it. So we
the management fee is pretty high, right? It's 10% of the income and so on. So yeah, the economies of scale are not necessarily there, but it's a good way to start. We don't want to discourage people from starting like you did with smaller rental properties. That's a natural, normal progression, I think, to move up to larger stuff. But fantastic. Now, you guys reached out to me a couple weeks ago, and I do a bad job, but I'm like you, you know, my lifestyle is quite important. I'm always out there traveling, Europe, skiing, whatever, hunting, whatever it is that I do, and I do have a great life. But you reached out to me because that's not enough. 100 or so many doors. You don't even know how many exactly. That's so cool. Now you want to build. You want to become developers. You're after a 296 new development project in New Brunswick, in Fredericton. So, and you wanted to know about CMHC's new program and construction loans and stuff like that. So you reached out to me. You were very persistent. I'm glad that you did. I'm a busy guy. When I'm not busy, I'm busy enjoying life. So, but you're persistent. I'm so happy because it's a great success story. Tell us a little bit about that. But you and I, we chatted. You wanted to know how constructions loan work. And I've told you there's a couple of ways of going about it. And I told you a little bit more about CMHC's MLI Select, which, by the way, I'm refinancing, doing myself, CMHC's MLI Select. For those of you who are not familiar with that program, it began last year in March of last year, just a year ago. And it's CMHC is trying to promote 3 things. And I'm not going to go too long. But by the way, I do cover that now in the workshop. Of course, I have to. But CMHC it's called CMHC MLI Select. It's trying to promote affordable housing, environmentally or energy efficient housing, and what is it for handicapped people, like accessibility housing. So these are the 3 social outcomes that CMHC is trying to pursue. And for doing that, let's take an example. It's a point system. If you have, let's say, 100% of your units below the 30% of the medium renter income, you get 100 points. That means that you can amortize the loan up to 50 years, which before that, the maximum was 40 years. Your minimum DCR now, instead of being 1.3, is 1.1. And maximum financing, 95% of CMHC's lending value. So they're big flexibilities to encourage, like I said, affordability, energy efficient, and accessibility. So I share with you more or less the gist and what's going on now. Where are you at since we spoke a few weeks ago with that project? Have you moved forward? Are you working? I think you might be working with a mortgage broker, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So before I talk about it, if I just like add a little point of
Sure.
manifestation here, that how did it like come into picture as well? Quickly on that. So I have grown up in a very small town, and I had never seen like tall buildings. But then I moved to South India, where I went for my IT job, and the first building, like the company that I was in, there was a 21 floor building. The doors were opening automatically. And I was like, oh my God, what is this place? Who built this? I want to build it too.
Wow.
That was my first reaction came out when I saw that building. I always dreamt of I will have buildings too, but never thought of taking any action at that time. So I think the manifestation also play a role. And when we started into real estate business together, and I was like, I want to become a builder. I want to become I want to build bigger buildings here. And then as we started growing up, we talking and expressing our interest to our power team members, other people who we work with. And so somebody we work with, they connected us with somebody who has this development experience. So that's how it just came into picture altogether.
Thank you for going back to that, because it is important. Like you, I come from a small town. I'm number 9 of a family of 12. Okay. So I did not grow up owning a $22 million portfolio. So it's all in the mind. No, it was a good link with now building new. So that's very cool. Well, you come from an amazing culture. I've never made it to India, not by lack of wanting. I'm sure I will end up there, but very spiritual culture, which is a very beautiful culture. Not to speak about the food, which is just outstanding. Indian food is just out there so much. Okay, fantastic. So that's what you've got on the books now, and you're working with a mortgage broker, I believe, in that project. And so far, so are you looking for investors, or you have all your money? Is that something people can reach out to you for? You're looking for investors?
Yes, we are looking for investors. So we will be investing our money as well, but we will also need some other sources of investors as well. Yes. So
what's the minimum cap? Sorry, there's a bit of a delay, right? Obviously, we're in Ecuador, but you should see what I see. It's just beautiful. I see at the bottom right, I see the waves. It looks like the sun is about to set. So maybe, yeah, I can see above your head. We're going to have to wrap up this interview, because otherwise we're going to have the sun straight in our face, but it's beautiful. You're a beautiful couple. I want to tell that you've got such a beautiful energy emanating from you. Okay. Well, we'll have to, so people can reach out to you. What's the minimum capital investment you're looking for that 296? We should say something. If you don't allow me, can we talk briefly? You got that land for like next to nothing. There's a big upside to begin with in your project, right? Khush and Tom, we should. So we'll let people communicate with you, but I got to tell you guys, we've talked about the numbers a little bit. They're in a great position. People watching my vlog or my marketing campaign, we have a severe, unprecedented housing crisis in Canada. Doesn't matter where you're looking. So these new build like that, the numbers look really good. Obviously, construction costs are going through the roof, but you're getting that land at a huge discounted price, right? It's fair to say, guys. Okay. I think we're going to end it here. You know what I'm going to pull? What am I going to pull out of my pocket, Khush or Tom? Do you know?
No.
Yes, you do. Remember?
A magic band of a stone.
My gratitude rock. Have you forgotten?
Oh, yes.
So I am. Usually, I should have started the interview. I never go anywhere. I picked it up on the shores of Lake Titicaca. Actually, Facebook reminded me 7 years ago on a big adventure trip with my son, hiking to Machu Picchu, mountain biking in Bolivia on Death Road and stuff. So I'm grateful to you for this interview. You guys, like I said, you're a beautiful couple. I wish you well. You rolled up your sleeves. You vanquished all the odds. There's always odds to, this is not magic wealth being created overnight. It takes time, it takes effort, and you're a fantastic example of what success is, and wish you well, and all the best to you, and we'll stay in touch. Any parting words you want to tell people watching this vlog post?
Yeah, just briefly, I think, some key elements that enabled us to be successful, and so many others that could be a stumbling block for those who haven't taken the step, is to invest in yourself and invest in real estate investment education. So I think a lot of people, will look into university education for a career, but they don't consider, spending large amounts of money on real estate education and financial education to enable themselves to be able to do this. And then I think, key attributes to me are persistence and taking massive action. So if you never take action, you could know everything and still go nowhere. And without, even when you have the best laid plans and you have the knowledge and you have the opportunity, without persistence, one could give up sometimes. That sometimes some challenges arise that were unanticipated, and you have to kind of keep either pushing through or pivot and find another way, or reach out to a mentor or a power team member. You find a solution, you find a path forward. Whereas, if you can't give up every time there is a challenge, because almost every time there is a challenge with acquiring or building multifamily properties.
All right, now I think of two more quotes. One by my big sister, like number one in my family of 12. But you remember this from my workshop. When there's a problem, you remember the rest of the sentence? There's always a solution. If you cannot find a solution, that means you're part of the problem. Let that sink. I've taught this to my children, because we're business owners, we're entrepreneurs, there's always a solution. But Warren Buffett also said that the best investment that you can make, and obviously one of the greatest investors of the 20th and 21st century, is investing in yourself, because it cannot be taxed. Inflation cannot take it away from you. So, okay, well, thank you so much for this amazing interview. It's very inspiring. You're a very beautiful, inspiring couple. And again, I wish you the best, and we'll have to keep up. Maybe we'll see, we'll share your information with people that want to rent your place in Ecuador. And remember, my wife and I are the first one. We want to be there. And also, if people are interested, did you say there was a minimum capital investment in the project in Fredericton? What was the minimum capital investment you're looking for?
100K, but we can go down up to 50,000 as well. So depending on.
Okay. Okay, fantastic. So we'll give your contact info there. Once again, thank you so much for doing this interview, and we'll be chatting soon. Take care. So thank you, everybody, for watching another episode of the Canadian Multifamily Investing Blueprint Insider Post, and I'll see you in the next episode. Cheers.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having us. Take care.
Take care. Bye.